6 over 60, a show about living a great life at a great age. This show is made possible because of You Care and Northern Tier Insurance.
Hi, welcome to 6 over 60. I'm here in Perm today with Chuck Johnson, aka Abraham Lincoln. So Chuck, tell us, so this is exciting. I'm so excited for this interview because you are an Abraham Lincoln reenactor.
Yes.
So how did you get into this? How did you start?
I have a long history in community theater here in Perham, and over the years I've gone increasingly deaf, and 10 years ago I had to leave stage because I couldn't hear you give lines to me, and I would drop lines. And so I left stage 10 years ago and have been off stage, and 3 years ago the Wadena Theater Group had a one-act play contest, and they said, who wants to enter our contest? And I had I had done some Lincoln reading, and I had toyed with the idea of writing a play based on that, and I said, Chuck, it's time to do that. And so I wrote that play about the night before Gettysburg, and performed it, and it did really well in the contest, and the newspaper did a story about that. And 3 days later, the people from Gettysburg called me.
Seriously?
And what had happened was the newspaper story, the people at Gettysburg, it's Destination Gettysburg is the group that I work with. They had a national keyword search for every newspaper in the United States. And their keyword search came up with Gettysburg. And they called me up, and I talked back and forth with Carl for a period of time, and then Carl says, let's do that. Come on out to Gettysburg. And so I've been out to Gettysburg the last 3 summers performing this play.
Oh my gosh, right here in Perm.
Yeah.
We've got a star. Wow, that's so awesome. And so you wrote this play. How long did that take you, and what kind of research was involved?
Boy, it took me a long time. My cornerstone is a book called The Writing of the Gettysburg Address. And from that book I acquired lots of the basic knowledge, just the official stuff.
Yep.
However, beyond that, I just kept Googling and Googling and Googling. I'd come up with a question and Google it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, I think I'll slide that in. No, I won't slide that in. And I honestly don't know how many hours I've got involved. That the book thing probably is, that might be 40 hours involved in the book and the starting point of it. And then there's 1,000 Googles that have taken place subsequent. And it's hard to know how much, if you add them all together, I really don't know what that is.
And in all of history, why Abraham Lincoln? What made you focus on him?
Well, it started, 10 years before. Well, it started about 10 years ago when I read a book dealing with Abraham Lincoln. And when I read that book, I said, wow, that would make a really cool screenplay. And so that's been percolating back there for a long period of time. And then when Wadena came along and says, who wants to participate in their one-act play contest, it was time for Chuck to do it.
Oh my gosh, and I'm excited looking at you because of we didn't get to film the transformation from Chuck Johnson to Abraham Lincoln. So what's involved? You said color spray for your beard, right?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 things I do. One thing is the beard. I have to, with a trimmer, I shave it appropriately.
Yes, yep.
And then I have black hairspray that I use to darken it because it's about that color gray.
Beautiful white.
Beautiful gray.
Right, silver.
And I use that black hairspray to darken this, and I use some also on my hair now.
Okay.
And then a little bit of penciling with the eyebrows and stuff like that, and it takes me 10 minutes. Wow. And I transform from Chuck to Abraham in 10 minutes. Oh my
gosh. And then you've got the ensemble, and we're going to show you, he's going to do some quick scenes from his whole performance, and he's got his jacket. I had him not put his jacket or his hat on because then then you really look like Abraham Lincoln, and I wanted you to look like Chuck Johnson for a few minutes here. So you love live performing. So how many performances do you do a year, do you suppose?
I'm probably doing maybe 40 a year.
You do 40. Wow, that's a lot.
It might be that. You know, last year and now this year, I applied for a Minnesota Legacy grant, if you know what Legacy
that's
is.
awesome.
And I received a year ago and also this year. And the Legacy brings me out to schools. I've done quite a few schools. Last year, my Legacy brought me out to Minnesota's veteran nursing homes, which is really cool.
Oh,
so you have an audience fully involved with vets.
Yeah.
And now this year, I haven't even started it yet with my new Legacy, but that'll be schools again and community libraries.
Well, can you imagine as a kid, like, I mean, kids would implode seeing like Abraham Lincoln. Talk about a history. You would love to, I mean, it would bring history alive, like what they're trying to do with stuff instead of books. Like, there you are.
You know, people have asked me, I've done it a lot of times, and people ask me, don't you just sort of get tired of doing that?
Yeah.
Because it's been there, done that, been there, done that.
Yeah.
And no, I don't get tired of it. And the reason for that is the play itself has a real deep intensity, a really deep intensity. And when I'm on stage talking to my audience and I make really significant eye contact, and here's Erika and somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and I watch you as you react to Abraham Lincoln's intensity.
Yeah, I have goosebumps because I'm just like, whoo.
And your intensity, the audience intensity is really significant.
Well, like before we were recording, you were doing some of your scenes, and like even now I have goosebumps because it's like, oh my gosh, you are a really good actor, and it's like powerful. So one last question before we show some of his performances is what do you think we can learn today from Abraham Lincoln's history?
That's an interesting question. In the youngest days of this play, when I'm out in Gettysburg, several times I do a QA at the end of a performance, and several times people would ask me a question about, did you write this play for 1863, or was it also intended to cross over to 2022? Because there was so much crossover with racism and those types of things.
Right.
And I, quite honestly, I would say, no, I wrote it for 1863, but that's a really interesting question. After I had been asked that several times, I says, well, I want to incorporate that into the play. And 2 times now, subsequent to that, 2 different times in the play, I ask you twice these questions. What is Gettysburg? Why is Gettysburg? Why is Gettysburg still important to us today in 2024, 2022? And my intent there is to cause you to think about the crossovers that you just asked me about.
Right.
And does everybody do that? No, but I think it causes some people to say, wow, there is a real commonality between this period and this period.
There's an extreme commonality, and it kind of makes me sad that we have not progressed more than we have. But
yes, yeah.
you know, so I think it's good to hear these kind of messages, because it's like, yowza, we still have a long ways to go as humankind and everything else. So you the other one last question I have is, when you do this, how do you, like, I know that you have a lot of emotion in your acting because you've given us a few pre-taste to that. How do you kind of think, how would he feel? Have you researched it? You know, how do you know some of this emotion, this intense emotion that he felt?
I just do it.
You just do it.
You know, there's twice in the play where Abraham develops tears, and I develop tears.
Really, you're just
and it's his, because I am him.
Yeah.
And it's I don't force that. It's like, Chuck, you should cry now. But Abraham does cry now, twice in the play.
Oh my gosh. It's fun because I've never talked to like an actor before, so I'm kind of like, whoop, this is fun. Because it's just so amazing. Acting is such a unique thing that I'm like, I don't know how to bring out emotions like that. So let me see. So Adam will follow us with his camera over here. So you've got your jacket and your hat, and now we're going to see the transformation to Abraham Lincoln.
And
oh my gosh! Oh, look at you've got notes in there, and
that's the Gettysburg Address.
Oh my gosh!
In the middle scene of the play, he's in his bedroom working on the Gettysburg Address, and there's the Gettysburg Address, and he's got this sitting on his desk, and he's looking at it, talking about it, and making additions to it as he comes up with, geez, I should say this.
Oh my gosh, so there it is in your coat pocket. And then the famous hat. Oh man, there he is, Abraham Lincoln. Oh, you're a handsome guy.
You know, Abraham Lincoln was 6'4", which was exceedingly tall.
Right.
And when he put this thing on, it added about 6 inches. So as he stood here, he was getting close to 7 feet tall.
Wow.
And that was really an attention getter. He did that, that's why he did that.
Really, to to have a presence, which he had naturally, but yeah, even more so with a huge hat on. That's definitely Abraham Lincoln. Right here, folks. So Chuck, you're gonna do a scene now. And so first of all, we've got a table that you made, which tell us about the table.
Well, when he worked on his speech, the scene that we're going to do right now, he's in his bedroom and he's sitting at a night table and working on the speech. And that's a replica that I made of the exact table that he was writing on that evening.
Nice. And we've got a candle. And so tell us, this is the second scene. So give us a little history of the first scene so an audience understands what's happening next.
Okay, in the first scene, Abraham has set the stage for what happens now, which is the fact that it's 10 o'clock at night, he's giving this speech tomorrow, and he's not done with his speech. And it's been a long day. He left Washington, D.C. this morning, arrived in Gettysburg. He's had a long day, and he's really, really tired, but he has to finish writing his speech.
Okay, and this is what we're going to see next. And you've got your speech in your hat because you said Abraham Lincoln kept his writings in his hat?
He quite often carried important documents in his hat.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, so folks, stay tuned. Here we are. We are going to welcome Chuck Johnson in the Night Before Gettysburg, impersonating or as a reenactment for Abraham Lincoln.
Oh. 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 I wish Mary was here. But when Tad got sick, she had to stay behind. We can't lose another child like we lost Willie a year and a half ago. And Eddie, my little Eddie, 13 years ago. I don't think I could survive if I lost another child. I know I couldn't. Lost another child. Mothers everywhere, north and south, are saying that these days about their children and their husbands. God, I'm just so tired. Abraham, you can't afford tired. You need to finish. What is slavery? Why is slavery? Why are men enslaved? They're just human beings. Like myself and Mary and Tad. That field hand over there isn't very dark, is he? Yep, you're right. That's one of our quadroons. He's been with us for 3 generations. Oh. The grandparents to that human being, that quadroon, were brought here by slave traders. Their children became slaves. And their children became slaves. And there stands a slave. May God forgive us. May He forgive us.
All right, so you just saw some awesome scenes. I got goosebumps, like I told you. So, third scene, tell us about what the third scene is in your play.
The third scene itself is the Gettysburg Address, which Lincoln has just finished working on last night. And of course, everybody knows the Gettysburg Address. It lasts about 2.5 minutes. And I'm going to just do the opening portion of that.
Famous
Here's
intro.
an interesting thing about the Gettysburg Address. The Gettysburg Address is 10 sentences long. That's all it is. Long sentences, but it's 10 sentences. And I'm probably going to do, I don't know, one or 2 sentences right now.
All right, let's hear it. Here we go. Chuck Johnson as Abraham Lincoln.
"Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal."
Thanks so much, Chuck
You're
Johnson,
welcome. Thank
Abraham
you.
Lincoln.
This has
Good
been
meeting
really
you.
enjoyable.
This has been so much fun. This has been 6 over 60 people living a great life at a great age, and this was definitely a treat. Thanks so much.
Thank you.